Hi guys, welcome to episode 3. This is Elizabeth.
And this is Carolyn.
And today we are attacking post-midterm week
Oh my god.
3, but also heading into the weeks 5, 6, and 7.
8, 9, 10. And
yeah.
Like a Stanford career that... Wait, you know what's crazy though? Because I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be like, wow, like baby Carolyn really thought that she was like going through it. But then I'm going to realize that it was just 1 week. Out of how many weeks do we have? If we're taking like 10 weeks per quarter, that's like 30 weeks a quarter.
30.
So like 120 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's just going to be like 1 of 120.
Yeah. But I think I'm taking an especially difficult quarter this year, or like at this moment, because it's not only strictly gen eds, which I think I'm enjoying the classes that I'm in at the moment, but it's not the classes that I came here for. So we're really just surviving here, and
Tell them about your midterm. What midterm do you have coming up?
Okay, so I have Econ 102A coming up, and this is the kind of intro stats course, which you think would be fine, but I have been hearing every terrorizing, fear-mongering story available about how this professor creates his tests.
Oh.
And so I've been working on it in just a coffee shop, and Stanford students have come up to me and said, "Oh, you're taking 102A?"
There's no way.
It was like,
why are they sniping you from your laptop screen?
Legit. Well, I was checking it over with a friend, so I feel like maybe we were louder. But they were like, well, first they were super nice. They offered us their P set to double check with.
Damn.
But then went on to go say, yeah, you really need to be cautious of time on the test because tons of people do not even finish, and it's super challenging.
Foul.
I know, but I guess this is good to like get me like started into like really working on econ, although I have not yet.
I feel like that's almost like you could draw a parallel to the sunk cost fallacy. It's like it'll be worth it, but only after I've kind of like crested that wave. And so, like, right now you're saying, like, this class is worth it based on outcomes that I do not know have happened, but are assuming have happened already. So I feel like, I don't know, if it were me, I like to see the results of what I'm doing, like, within the next, like, 2 to 3 business days. So I really congratulate you on your fortitude. I would have dropped already.
Thank you. How have you been?
How have I been? Wait, a lot better after midterms, but I will say I feel like my life shifts through different waves of busyness. Like, I'm always busy. Okay, now I sound like a pick-me. I feel like generally I'm usually running around and I don't really know where I'm running. The only issue is like I have very different stages of busyness. So I have weeks where I'm like academically busy. I have weeks where I'm like socially busy. I have weeks where I'm just like life maxing busy, and you can't really account for any of it either until like the stuff shows up on your GCal. Oh my god, I'm gonna look back on it. I'm gonna be like, I was such a corporate freak at the ripe old age of 19.
Yes.
But basically, like, my life has phases of busyness, and I'm still trying to find out which ones drain me the most versus which ones make me the most excited. But I think we were just talking prior to starting the podcast about being in our seasons of creation and or hibernation.
Yes. Winter quarter kind of brings out the best or worst of you.
Yeah.
So I'm making it through. We'll see.
No, I believe in you. And honestly, you know how you said, like, you weren't taking gen eds, but you still, like, feel like... I honestly feel like the gen eds are the hardest classes.
For sure. The gen eds are what you did not sign up for, but are given anyways.
I know. Because everyone has to take them, you must contend with the curve, for better or for worse. And it's like... I think at least at Stanford, some of the gen eds are reader courses, like 51, which you just took. Also, I heard that you low-key killed the curve, girl.
Did not. Where did you hear this?
Wait, because the curve is a 34 out of 50, and we know that Elizabeth low-key ate up the curve.
I did not eat up the curve, but I'm, like, sufficiently ahead. We're good.
Yes.
I can't be slacking anytime soon, though.
Low-key felt. My midterms just came out today as well. We will not be bothering ourselves with that.
Yeah, let's not...
Not in a million years, I don't think.
Let's not, like, ruin the mood.
I know.
Or maybe lively in the mood.
Wait, you know what my mom told me today? Oh, wait, I love my mom, but I honestly fear she has no filter socially or, like, when she's speaking to her own daughter. And I was just telling her about... Like, I wasn't even telling her about feeling stressed for school, but this morning I was calling her on my way to power yoga. And, like, every other sentence, when I would talk about school, she was like, you know, your solution is just to find a boyfriend who's good at that subject who will tutor you. And I was like, Mom, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, I fear that that's not the move, and we can delve into this in future episodes, but the Stanford dating culture is not for the weak.
There's no dating culture, that's why. It's not for the weak, it's not for the strong, it's not for anybody, because it does not exist.
Yeah. Wait, but honestly, what college does have a dating culture? Like, we have to answer this question. It's just like, college is not the environment to be in, especially as a freshman, where you're gonna find people who are looking to immediately get cuffed, immediately kind of enter, like, the dating for marriage phase.
Yeah, no, that's okay, insane. I will say college is a great place to break up a relationship. All of my friends who used to be in long-distance relationships coming into college are now no longer in those relationships. We've literally gone from, like, beginning of this quarter, my entire friend group, I think, every single girl in that friend group, they were all in LDRs, and now only one of them is.
Okay, so someone was a catalyst there. Someone broke up with their boyfriend and was like, we are going to make this a thing. We're going to make this a move. But I will say that my girlfriends that have had or are in long-distance relationships, you're hitting the point where it's really testing their decisions, their sacrifices for each other, despite being so far away from each other. I think first month or two, hey, kind of, it's in a way it's its own sweetheart honeymoon phase.
In like a transition, you're like, wow, distance makes the heart grow fonder.
And you're putting in everything that you may have previously agreed upon. But past that, lives are changing. Commitments moving, and maybe the time slot that you previously gave to your partner is now no longer there.
And I think especially if you're, like, noticing everyone else is also getting out of long-distance relationships, that low-key gets kind of awkward, and it's, like, very much pressure testing. Also, but, like, who are we to say? I don't know.
Both of us are single right now.
We've never been in a relationship before. Neither of us.
Okay, we're really just putting that out.
Not.
Okay. But, we're observers.
We are observers. We're like flies on the wall.
Yeah.
I kind of love it.
Okay, but let's not try and be flies on the wall forever.
Okay, wait. Anyway, so back to the topic at hand, seasons of hibernation versus seasons of creation, and how you feel about being on the other end and or, like, watching people on the other end. So, like, for you right now, as someone who maybe is looking to conserve energy a little bit more for the spring quarter, how are you thinking about gearing up for your season of creation, and or how are you currently consuming right now in ways that fulfill you?
I think towards the creation component, this is very much like podcast language.
No, it's okay. You got it.
I think that the ideas that I have to create are really getting shelved at the moment. I'm definitely consuming in different ways, and that's impacting how and what I'm producing. And so I do find that this podcast is, like, accurately voicing my opinions in the current time, because my life is currently consumed by the college environment, and
I know
my thoughts are constantly revolving around the immediate. And so this is where we have begun, and I think that in the future I would love to kind of maybe create more day in the life content. We'll see.
Wait, I love it.
I think there's so many things to get into. The possibilities at Stanford are just as a college student. Yes, limitless, and it's insane. And then towards consumption, I noticed that as we love to use this word busy, but just in a life that's just filled with an abundance of social life and academics and extracurriculars, I think that there's so many demands that Carol and I both agree that we've found it difficult to set aside time at the end of the night for ourselves, for a good read, for good exercise.
Wait, you should come. Okay, this is so bad, but my friends and I, we go to the gym every single night at 10:30. The gym closes at 11 because otherwise we just would not go and we would not do things.
Wow, every night
Every single night, but, like, at 10:30, so we just, like, it's 30 minutes of just, like, intense, hardcore, like, we did this to ourselves, but, like, we acknowledge that, and that's why we're here. It's just the weird, like, gaslighting process.
Yes.
But I took a run last night, and it was really, we should go running sometime,
We should.
I think. But, like, when it's really late at night, and it's just, like, the entire campus is, like, lit up, it's expansive, you feel this uplifting of the soul. I genuinely can't describe it. It's almost like catharticism, but it's not exactly
it's the dopamine.
That. I think
the
so.
Rush.
Wait, there's also just like an expanding of the soul. It's not just a release. It's like you physically feel yourself expanding. That makes any sense.
I haven't had that while running. What kind of running have you been doing?
Wait, but I love it. But I would actually go to argue that you have been consuming a lot, and it's more so like consuming knowledge and consuming experiences from other people.
Right? I would definitely say. I think the variety of people you meet, insane.
Yeah.
And then I think we were both mentioning that there are certain days of the week where it's just filled with lecture, filled with section. And so it is very much academic. So I'll have days where from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
10 a.m. to 6:30.
Yes, I have one block in the afternoon that's a possible meal or like
that's not
work
making
through
me feel
period.
any better. Why is it a possible meal? Why is it not just lunch?
I've been skipping lunches because lunch is way too hard. Like, it's hard to walk to the dining hall, guys.
It's actually very true because all of our courses are like on a certain part of campus that there are just no dining halls around. But I will say they're good cafes. Like, have you had Olives? I had Olives today.
Oh yeah, no, Olives is my bae.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately,
on that day when you're finally finished with all of your classes at say 6:30 p.m. and I'm heading to dinner, I'm reflecting on what I just gone through, legit literally, PTSD, yeah. and it's just so much content that's been bombarded, and so it's really for me to drag out into the next day to comprehend that.
Every day is literally overflow day.
Mm-hmm.
My weekends used to be my overflow days, but now like genuinely every day is just like I have to catch up with what I like either did not get done or like did the night before, if that makes any sense. And like it sucks because like now my hours of productivity are literally limited to like 3 hours in the morning. So like between the hours of like 11 when I get back from the gym and 2 a.m. like I am my most productive because I have to be productive.
Oh, when you said in the morning, I thought you meant like when you'd wake up.
No, because this girl has been going to bed at like 3 and waking up at 9. So.
Oh, sleep schedule horrible.
I think so. Wait, I calculated it. I got an average of like 5 hours of sleep a week last week.
But how do you feel?
It's not something to flex about. I feel like shit.
Oh.
Yeah, but I need to just unmarry myself from this need to be stressed in order to be productive. I think that's my current stance. But it's one thing to recognize it, another thing to actually implement change. So we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. And so I do want to ask you about your consume versus creation, but I think I want to add to like that final piece of you mentioning, oh my god, why did I just blank on it? What did you just end your statement with? You ended with how you wanted to change yourself, but you weren't exactly acting upon it. Yeah. And I would like to add that I wholeheartedly believe, just from my personal experience, that you may say you want to ease off the gas, but in reality, you can't give it up because there's both external and internal pressures going on. So. And so there isn't a true incentive for you to change your actions because it's working right now. It's working,
and that's why, it won't work anymore once my body stops functioning. Mm-hmm. But just knowing myself, I know that, I can probably gas until I'm nearly at that point, and which point will take me, a day to recover. But then I'll be back on the ground again. Yeah.
Guys.
But it's, fully, a day where I'm just, comatose, lying in bed, mute, just not responsive. Actually, no, this has never happened before, but this is what I'd imagine it'd be like. Luckily, I've never gotten to that point. But I honestly fear one of these days, everything is just going to come, crumbling down on me. And I'm not going to know how to make my way through. But I honestly feel like some days are kind of, I have half and half days, I like to call them, and that in the mornings, I'm so jovial. I'm the sun is shining on my face. I'm walking to class. I have my earbuds in and I'm just listening to good music. I'm calling my friends from back home. I'm just wow, I love being at Stanford. But then as soon as the sun disappears from the sky, I don't know what it is, but it's my mood is a 180. I realize how little work I've gotten done. I realize that sometimes bad news just hits me in the evening for some reason. I literally cannot explain it. Mm-hmm. Literally cannot explain it. But I actually feel sometimes my evenings, it's also because I know I have to get work done in the evenings. And so if in the morning I'm let me just go about my schedule, in the evenings it's let me go about my work. And for me, that has a different connotation. Because I know sometimes we equate our schedules with work, but I think there's a distinction as to, like, what is expected of you versus, like, what you expect of yourself.
Ooh, I can see that for sure. And,
yeah.
like, I was questioning myself, like, we love to say we're so busy, and it almost becomes like a words of affirmation for the negative.
Why is it a badge of honor on the flip side, though? Like, why are we like, oh, like, my GCal is so booked, like, I actually need to break free from that type of thought.
Yeah, and it's almost like telling myself I'm this busy creates this stress and animosity for myself because I have these deadlines in the future.
Yeah.
But, it's all a mental block. And I think that we need to adjust it, but then simultaneously I'm also thinking, hey, I'm not even like Carolyn level. I don't schedule too many like chats during the week, but the ones that I do, I find that I spend a lot of time maybe thinking about them or not even preparing for them. It's like after the fact, I guess, which is good. I'm reflecting on them.
That is good.
But in some senses, this is an extracurricular. This is a want and it isn't a need. While academics is like
very
utmost
much
priority.
like a need, and we're like laying it to the side.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling. But how are you? And we didn't get our creation and consumption question.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Okay, I'll answer everything from the top down. Before I move on to like the whole creation versus consumption thread, wanted to very quickly address the point about like what does it mean to be. Like, we keep on talking about intentionality, but I think what we truly mean is that we need to be intentional with how we're directing the bulk of our energy. And he said that by reflecting, you really do give yourself, like, time and, like, the space to kind of, like, break down and synthesize everything. But I think when you're so high momentum, it can be difficult to carve that out for yourself. And then I'd almost argue that with that quantity actually comes a detriment. Because if you keep on executing at such a high pace, but not at a high level, like, people are always going to be studying what you do in, like, your work, right? Like, your work is always being watched. So I think, like, on some level, just making sure that you're always producing high-quality work, even if it's just presenting yourself to somebody else, I think that does matter a lot, too. And then as for, like, creating versus consuming, I will say I'm in my season of creation. I recently launched my like Claude coded, I don't know if that's like embarrassing to say, but like an AI basically coded my entire website, but it is out now.
Yes.
Which is fun because I had really been thinking about just like having a home base where I could compile all of the thoughts swirling through my head. And so it's just nice to have something that's tangible and out there, and like if people want to engage with it, they can. It's almost like looking at an inner peeling of my brain. I also very recently started a Substack. This was completely spontaneous, by the way. I was like in my data science section, and literally the next class was walking in, and I was like, you know what? Kind of want to write something right now. So I literally, like, the guy was just like yapping in the background, and I was just like writing my little Substack post. But it's been written and it's out, and I'm really just at this point hoping to establish like a workflow. So like you have your call and like what not, but then like also having that space to reflect. And then I think especially having a Substack forces you to synthesize again, right? So I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I will say I have not been consuming as much, or if I'm consuming, it sounds bad. It's within the hours of like 2 to 3 a.m. and I'm like brushing my teeth and like unwinding for the night, and I'm just like, I need some like bad content to fill the gaps of my brain.
Yeah, it's a TikTok or two, maybe.
Yeah, or like 5. Yeah,
5 is a
50,
low number.
maybe.
Yeah. An uncomfortable amount.
Yeah, the limit does not exist.
Ooh, we can discuss the horrors of content creation another episode. But
please, that'd be good.
There's so many topics I would love to talk about. I mean, so today, very fun news. My dad came to campus, and so he picked me up. We went for dinner, and so that always forces me to give however long since we'd last seen each other recap of everything that's happened, and then future plans too. And so that got me thinking about imposter syndrome, and I realized I'm a lucky individual. Don't experience it. Wait, because do you experience imposter syndrome?
I mean, like, on some degree, low-key, maybe no, but I think it's also just like we're very content with the paths that we're running, and it's less so a sense of like imposter syndrome, more a sense of like, this sounds bad, but like almost an eroticism, like an internal competitiveness.
Ooh, I can definitely say internal competitiveness. I think everyone on campus feels this guilt that they're not doing enough.
Yeah.
But I've not yet reached the limit or the edge looking upon this abyss where I have said to myself, I do not belong here.
Yeah.
I very much feel like a part of the community, and I think I contribute to it. And Carolyn does too with everything she does.
Oh no, not anymore. They're gonna dig up like, okay, well, actually we'll leave that thread there. To be picked up in like 10 episodes or so, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like with the seasons of busyness, I think like pace is one thing that makes like certain seasons like feel busier, but I think the other thing is because you mentioned that sometimes we oscillate from focusing purely on academics to purely on everything else. That can make the phases just feel super distinct. So even if we're at the same level of busy, the way that the busyness just feels so different is because we're contact switching too much. Like, I felt like a very different person in my academic busyness week versus like my week now, where I'm just kind of like bumming about. You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's a matter of being seen versus not seen, I think. At least in my opinion. It's because you gather a lot about how you're feeling and how you're acting by when you look back on how you interact with others. At least in my opinion.
This is true. Oh my god. Is it time for an embarrassing story? Speaking of like how we interact with others.
Yes.
I think I just need to stop defining myself based on how others like around me. Do you remember in college we had this conversation about like the concept of a self? And like whether there truly is a true concept of a self if the self is defined by everything around them. Lewis Lowry wrote a great book about this. It's called Selfless. But the whole concept is like you're defined by the communities around you and like by what they... How would you describe it? It's like the book essentially is this mediation on what it means to be a member of a community and like what it means to like feel like you're a part of something bigger and to define yourself as being part of something bigger, I think.
So I read the book and my impression was, from the very few chapters I read...
I read almost none.
It was strictly for our
all
class.
of mine is like synthesis for the final. So it truly is just like, yeah.
From what I took away is we should be very intentional and mindful of our consumption, and that is who we surround ourselves and what we consume, so that we are a product of what we consume and one that we are proud of, one that we are inspired and aspirational for.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I really took away the idea of intentionally surrounding myself with friends that I really admire, Carolyn included. I'm
literally so happy that I met you.
Me too. I think I love hearing about what my friends are up to because it really inspires me and kind of opens me up to what everyone else's creative outlet is. I'm not particularly the biggest writer. But I've had my fair share. Yes.
We're huge yappers.
For sure. But I'm an avid reader, and being able to share that and receive in response a real strong opinions is just what I live for.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, though? I feel like I haven't encountered many strong opinions on this campus. I think for the most part, people are very quick to, like, agree with one another, and maybe, like, this is going back to what we've kind of coined as the path of least resistance, and that, like, we kind of just want to make sure that we're, like, getting along and, like, getting as smoothly along with as many different people as possible. But I honestly think for the sake of social cohesion, people just prefer not to disagree. Or, like, they're very quick to modify what their take is or qualify what their take is. You know?
For sure. I don't know if we've unpacked this on what we've called the potty now. Pod D. Let's just make that one clear.
Potty.
Yeah.
Potty.
Yeah. We just need to start doing this podcast in the Crothers restroom. And then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. On the toilets.
Wait, I don't know. Should we say a specific name on this? Okay, never mind. Oh, wait, I don't immediately lost my track of thought.
Wait, the potty got to us. I think the Crothers fumes just, like, reached us.
Affected us.
Yeah, I
like,
think
the smell of their cupboards
it came,
is,
like all... Wait,
potent.
actually, when I moved in here, I'm telling you, the cupboards, it's just, like, oh, that's my 9:05 alarm. Wait, you know what was so embarrassing? Oh my god, when I was taking my 51 midterm, my phone was next to me in my pencil case, and my 9:05 alarm went off, and I literally, like, I kid you not, I was, like,
mortified.
Because my phone was, like, next in my backpack, in my pencil case, and, like, next to me, right? But, like, the little bugger just went off.
Wait, so what did you do? Did you immediately go in there and turn it off?
No, I just, like, kind of just, like, pretended I didn't hear it, and I just kind of, like, let it vibrate. And I think, like, the people around me heard it. I don't think anybody else did.
During my midterm, really someone's full alarm went off. Classical music, literally just berating all of us.
Love it.
And so the proctors immediately got to kind of just rifling through the bags, trying to figure out which one was which. And they'd identified which bag it was. But I think once they finally found that bag, they were hesitant on whether to open it or not. Because it seemed like a breach of privacy.
Yeah.
Dude. We are all trying to take a test in here. I think all of this action is not contributing.
Wait, you know what's really funny? When I was in 10th grade in my English class, well, actually, it was like an English and history crossover class, but we basically did a bunch of debates about the academic environment, and my topic was, like, are bag searches, should they be allowed in schools? And basically the, like, conclusion or the TLDR was that bag searches are allowed so long as parents are, or the school is acting, like, in parental locus, or, like, okay, I actually forget what the exact term is, but basically the concept is when you're in the school environment, the school administrators / the school essentially function as your parental guardians, and as the parental guardians, they have a right to keep you safe by checking through your stuff, or, like, by having, like, a certain degree of ownership over what you do.
Definitely. I think I can see that, and they have their mission, which is to educate you, and it's not exactly to make you happier as an individual. I think our parents have all done things that have maybe made us cry or something. And so that's what guardianship requires.
I like the term of guardianship. I think that's very apt, especially when you're thinking about, like, the student / school relationship, or, like, to what extent the school is responsible for the students, and to what extent, like, students are responsible for being, like, functioning members of the broader school. But anyway, speaking of guardians, how was your dinner with your dad? We've, like, started to break it down, but we didn't get fully into
We haven't broken down everything.
No.
But what I really primarily wanted to get to was kind of the reflection and going over the future. And for me, the future still feels so uncertain. And we'd had a glimpse of a future imposter syndrome episode.
Yeah.
But essentially, primarily what I wanted to say was, at the moment, I think what I'm trying to tell myself and really believe are affirmations that it will all be all right, because giving your 100% has gotten us to a place like Stanford and will get us to places that we desire to go in the future. And minute drawbacks, such as a bad grade in Math 51, like, who would ever get that, won't set us back.
This is very true. But also, like, I think it's also, like, a mismatch / misalignment of expectations, because we're used to giving our 100% and receiving 100% in return, right?
Yeah.
But life is not always like that. Life truly just, like, it can be a bugger sometimes. And I'll give an example. Like, I really, really wanted to be a tour guide for Stanford. And then I had my interview, but I walked out of it and I was like, this could completely go, like, 50-50. But then I got the bad news on Monday, and you just have to, like, move on, I think. And sometimes you have to realize that, like, you can put your 100% into everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean the world will like, reciprocate. But what you can hope for is the fact that if you keep on putting in a consistent, like, 90+%, eventually the world will pay its dividends. And so, like, we can argue that it's very important to be selective with how you're devoting your 100%, but I'd actually go to argue that maybe sometimes it's just better to give 90% all the time.
I think to add, it's like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
True.
And so at some point, I think, from being at Stanford and being at this exploratory period of our lives, you need to dip your toes in everything to understand more about yourself and what makes you tick.
True.
And so giving 90%, perfect.
Love it. Yeah.
Most people here give 10.
It's actually very true. Wait, next week I have the craziest story for you.
Okay, perfect.
Genuinely, but I guess, like, this episode we kind of talked about, like, what it means to be a creator versus a consumer, what it means to, like, align your expectations with your output, and, like, what it generally just means to, like, battle with productivity. and like to feel like your worth is tied to productivity. But next week, maybe we'll do like more interpersonal things.
Yes, amazing summary.
Like, yeah.
I feel like we have been going over our professional college lives.
But I want to hear about your dad.
Yes.
I want to hear about what kind of figure he was growing up for you and everything.
Yes. We need to go over the backstories.
Yes,
# where it all began.
I know. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, well, take care. Bye,
Love
guys.
you guys. See you later.